In the middle of the dusty space market on planet Zarkan, an old man pushed a small metal cart. His back was bent, his hair silver and thin. His clothes were torn at the edges, and his shoes had holes. He moved slowly, his joints stiff, like every step was a quiet battle. He was just a human, weak, tired, and forgotten. His name was Eldon. He sold water in this galaxy. Water was cheap. Synth drinks and energy juice were more popular. But Eldon didn't sell those. He sold Earth style. Water in glass bottles, plain and simple. Some aliens said it tasted dead. Others laughed and said only primitive life drank that. Still, Eldon came every day. He parked his cart near the south corner of the market, where the shadows stretched longest in the afternoon. His old sign read, "Pure water, Earth origin." 2 creds. Most aliens ignored him. Some laughed. A few threw things. One large alien, a thick-scaled Zarn beast with glowing blue eyes, walked by and kicked Eldon's cart. Water bottles clinked and rolled into the dust. "Go home, fossil." The Zarn roared, laughing with his friends. Eldon didn't yell, he didn't cry, bent down slowly, picked up the bottles, and put them back. He dusted them off with a shaking hand. His fingers were scarred burn marks, old cuts, and something that looked like claw wounds. Nearby, a small alien girl named Rila watched silently. She was only 12 gal cycles old, with short purple hair and golden eyes. She often passed Eldon's cart on her way to school. Today, she stopped. She looked at the sign, then at Eldon. "Is it really from Earth?" she asked quietly. Eldon looked up. His eyes were gray, sharp, like cold steel under snow. For a moment, Rilla felt a strange chill. Then Eldon gave a soft smile and nodded. Double quotes, "Yes, child. It comes from a mountain spring. Old, clean, alive." She pulled out 2 creds and handed them over. Eldon gave her a bottle. "Thank you," he said. His voice was rough, like sand scraping metal. She took a sip. It tasted simple, but there was something special about it. It made her feel calm, grounded. Then the bullies returned. The same Zarn and his gang. 4 aliens with thick arms and sharper tongues. One knocked the bottle from Rila's hand. "You drink that junk." The gang leader sneered. "That's old man sweat." They shoved Eldon again. He fell this time. Water spilled. The cart tipped. The crowd did nothing. They watched. A few even laughed. Nobody stopped them. Eldon stayed on the ground. One of the aliens tossed 2 coins at him. They hit the dirt near his face. "Here's your pay, vendor," the alien said. "You're worth only this much." Eldon didn't speak. He simply reached forward and picked up the coins. But his hand paused when he saw something on the alien's neck. A tattoo. A black symbol, 2 wings crossed by a red line. Eldon's eyes changed. The crowd didn't notice, but Rila did. His face froze. His fingers curled tightly. For a moment, he didn't look old. He looked dangerous. The alien leaned close. "You're lucky we're bored today," he said. "Next time, you might disappear." The gang walked away, laughing. The market continued. Noise returned. But something had changed. Eldon stood slowly. Rilla helped him. Her eyes were full of worry. "Are you okay?" she asked. Eldon didn't answer at first. He looked at the crowd, then at the dirt, then at the bottle she dropped. He picked it up and handed it back to her. "I'm fine," he said. But he wasn't. That night, when the market closed, Eldon pushed his empty cart through the dark alleys of Zarkon. He reached a broken shack at the edge of the city wall. He opened the door. Inside, the lights were dim. Dust floated in the air. He opened a metal chest under the floor. Inside was a small cube, black with red glowing lines. He touched it gently. The cube lit up. A robotic voice whispered, "Colonel Eldon Graves. Command code recognized. Recon unit. GR-29 on standby." Eldon closed the chest and stared into the darkness. "Time to remember," he whispered. Asterisk, the morning after the attack, the market opened as usual. Vendors shouted, deals were made, and strange alien spices filled the air. No one remembered the old human who had been kicked down in the dirt the day before. But Eldon remembered. He stood silently in his corner. Water bottles neatly arranged, his cart repaired overnight. His hands moved slowly, but with care. His eyes, however, were different. No longer tired, no longer fading. There was something sharp beneath the surface now. Something. Awake, Rilla passed by again. She stopped, holding a small fruit pastry. "I brought you breakfast," she said, placing it on the cart. "You were hurt yesterday." Eldon looked at her, then at the small gesture of kindness. He nodded. "Thank you, child." She pointed. "To the sky. You used to be someone, didn't you?" Eldon said nothing, but the girl didn't need an answer. She smiled and walked away. That's when the gang returned. The Zarn leader, bigger than the others, swaggered toward the cart with his companions. He grabbed a water bottle, opened it, and poured it on the ground. "Still here, old bones," he growled. "We thought you'd crawl back to your grave." Eldon didn't react. The alien leaned in. "You think one little girl's kindness will protect you? Maybe we break her next." Eldon's fingers twitched, but he said nothing. The aliens laughed and walked away, vanishing into the crowd. But that was their mistake. That evening, Eldon returned to his shack. The streets were quiet. A light drizzle fell from Zarkon's upper clouds. His cart was hidden in the back now. He walked with purpose, calm. Focused, he opened the hidden floor panel again. The black cube glowed red the moment it sensed him. "GR-29, he said firmly. "Wake up." The cube pulsed. A soft hum grew louder. Suddenly, a circular platform rose from the floor. Out of it floated a small spherical drone, dark gray with red scanning eyes. It hovered before him like an old friend returning home. "Colonel Graves," it greeted. "Status: unknown. Confirm identity." Eldon placed his hand on the drone. Voice print confirmed. GR-29 replied. Memory fragments restored. Last mission incomplete. Awaiting orders. Eldon sat down slowly on a metal stool. His hands were steady now. "I've been hiding for too long," he said. "But the war followed me here." The drone hovered silently. Eldon opened another chest beside him, this one older, locked with codes even Zarkon tech couldn't crack. With a press of his fingers and a blink from GR-29, it clicked open. Inside, a sleek black datapad, a laser dagger with faded markings, and an Earth military badge with his name. Colonel E. Graves, Ghost, Divisioned. He picked up the badge and stared at it for a long time. "I was supposed to die a long time ago," he whispered. The drone responded. "You faked your death. You protected the survivors of Outpost Theta." Eldon nodded. "But I lost everything. My team, my family, my name." GR-29 hovered closer. "But not your purpose." That word hit deep. Eldon looked up. "Run a scan," he ordered. "I want background on the alien who attacked me. Neck tattoo line across twin wings. Find the symbol." The drone beeped and began the search. Within seconds, a hologram appeared. Subject identified. Commander Drakenvesh. Current alias. Zarnvesh, mercenary leader, affiliation. Broken Talon, syndicate, former enemy faction in human Talgar. Warlden clenched his fists, so it was true. He hadn't just been bullied by some street thugs. That Zarn was once part of a group that hunted humans for sport during the war. The same group that destroyed Earth colonies in the Outer Belt. The same ones who slaughtered his team during Operation. Blackveil.gr29 hovered beside him. "Colonel, do you wish to engage?" Eldon stood. "Not yet," he said. "I want them to think I'm still broken, still weak. Let them laugh again." He walked to a closet and pulled out a long coat. It was patched and dirty. Perfect. He placed the badge inside the lining close to his heart, but out of sight. As he left the shack, GR29 followed him, invisible to others, scanning, recording. Watching, they passed through the city streets. Lights flickered. The alien sky above was purple now, with twin moons rising. Eldon paused at the edge of the market square. He watched the gang laugh at another vendor. He saw Rila in the crowd, walking with her mother. He saw it all and said nothing. But behind his silent face, a fire had started to burn. The stars above Zarkon were quiet, peaceful, but inside Eldon's mind, there was no peace, only memory. Only ghosts. He sat in silence, facing the mirror in his shack. The dim light flickered above. He stared at his reflection, not at the gray hair or the wrinkled face. He looked deeper, past the tired eyes, past the beard and broken hands. He saw Colonel Eldon Graves, and he remembered 10 years earlier. The skies of Outpost Theta were on fire. Ships exploded like falling stars. The ground trembled with every blast. Eldon ran through the burning ruins with his squad, the Ghost Division. They were silent killers, trained for secret wars no one spoke about. "Commander Vesh's troops have breached the outer ring," shouted his second-in-command, a woman named Lyra. Eldon didn't blink. "Fall back to Sector 7. Lay traps. We hold them there." They fought in the smoke. Moved through shadow. The Ghost Division was famous across human space for one thing. No survivors left behind, and no enemy left standing. But that day, everything went wrong. Vesh's mercenaries weren't normal soldiers. They were monsters in armor, powered by stolen tech and pain. They had come for the human scientists on Theta people Eldon had sworn to protect. One by one, his team fell. Lyra was torn apart by an energy whip. Another teammate, Priest, was shot through the head while defending civilians. Eldon fought like a demon, slicing through enemies with his laser dagger, marking walls with blood. But in the end, he failed. The scientists died. The base fell. The last thing Eldon remembered was flying a damaged DVAC shuttle into a radiation storm, vanishing from every radar. The galaxy declared him dead. But he survived. Back to the present. Eldon broke his gaze from the mirror and stood up. He opened the wall panel and pulled out a black box. Inside was a folded uniform. Human, military, old, torn, but still bearing the faded Ghost Division emblem, a skull inside a silent ring. He didn't wear it. He didn't need to. He was no longer Colonel Graves. He was something else now. Outside in the marketplace, Rila ran to his cart. Her eyes were wide. "Mr. Eldon," she gasped. "That gang? They attacked a seller today. Beat him until his face bled." Eldon looked down. "Did they touch you?" "No," she said. "But they said if I talk to you again, I'll be next." Eldon gently placed a bottle of water in her hands. "Then don't talk to me in public anymore. You understand?" Rila's eyes filled with tears. "But I want to help." Eldon gave her a look so serious. She stopped breathing for a second. "You've already helped more than you know," he said. She nodded slowly and left. Eldon packed up his cart and walked down the street. He passed the laughing aliens. They didn't even notice him. That was fine. He didn't need them to notice him yet. That night, inside the shack, GR29 hovered silently. "Colonel Pard," said records show, "Commander Vesh is building influence on Zarkon. He is bribing officials, controlling the black market." No one stands against him. Eldon smirked. They will. He activated his datapad and scrolled through a list of names. These thugs in the market aren't just bullies, he said. They're former Black Talon shock troopers. They served under Vesh during the human hunts. GR-29 beeped. Then they are war criminals. Eldon picked up a small gray bag and opened it. Inside were old combat implant small devices that fit behind the ear or under the wrist. They enhanced reflexes, strength, and aim. Illegal now, but powerful. He stared at them for a moment. Then he closed the bag. Not yet, he said. I want them to see who they laughed at before they learn who I am. At midnight, Eldon returned to the market. It was empty, now dark and quiet. But GR-29 scanned the area. There, the drone said. A camera node tampered with. Someone was recording earlier. Eldon approached the vendor who had been attacked that day. He was sleeping in a broken stall. His face was bruised. His left arm in a sling. Eldon placed a water bottle beside him with a small med chip taped to the side. It would heal the worst of the injuries in hours. No one else has to fall for them. Eldon whispered. Then he turned to the wall and carved something in the stone with a small tool. 2 wings, red, slash, then a circle around it. The ghost divisions. Way of marking a target. The next morning, the gang found it. The Zarn leaders stared at the mark, confused. What is this? One of his lackeys spoke slowly. That's a death mark. Human military use that in secret wars. Are you telling me some human soldier is after me? The Zarn laughed, but he looked around the market. Something felt off. The old man was still there, standing quietly behind his cart, selling water, watching. The sun rose on Zarkon, casting long shadows across the cracked stone paths of the market. The same voices returned, the same vendors, the same smells, the same noise. But something was different. Whispers moved through the crowd. Someone had marked the wall with an old war symbol. 2 wings, a red line, and a circle. Old ones knew the meaning. The young only felt unease, and the gang. They laughed. Zarn, Vesh, the Zarn leader, stood in front of the mark with his gang of 4. His massive arms crossed, his shoulders wide like a mountain of scales. This is supposed to scare me. He growled. One of his men shifted uncomfortably. Sir, maybe we should find out who drew it. Zarn's mouth curled into a sneer. I already know. He turned and pointed across the square. Eldon was there as always, standing behind his cart. Of water, silent, watching. Car spat on the ground. Let's remind the old man that ghosts don't scare the living. They came at noon, when the market was busiest. Eldon was handing a water bottle to a miner when Zarn shoved the cart so hard it flipped over. Glass bottles shattered. Water spilled into the dirt. The crowd froze. Eldon looked up. Zare stepped closer, his face full of mock anger. Oh no, dude. I break your precious cart again, Grandpa. Eldon didn't speak. He simply stood there, calm and still. Zarn growled. What's the matter? No words this time. Thought you were clever, scratching war symbols on walls. Eldon blinked once. Slowly, I never needed words, he said quietly. Zeds laughed. Is that so? Then he made his biggest mistake. He grabbed Rila. She had just arrived, holding her small lunchbox, looking scared but brave. She tried to reach for Eldon's hand. Zarn's claw closed around her arm. You want to be a soldier, little girl? He hissed. Let's see if you survive like one. The crowd gasped. Some stepped back. Others just watched, but one figure moved. Eldon. He stepped forward with a speed no one expected. In one motion, he pulled something from his coat of metal. Disc the size of his palm and threw it to the ground. Smoke exploded everywhere. Thick, gray, and cold. People screamed. Zarn coughed and let go of Rila. She fell back, then was grabbed by something in the smoke. A voice whispered, "Run." Rila didn't look back. She ran when the smoke cleared. Eldon stood where he had been. But this time, he wasn't alone. A dark floating orb hovered beside him. GR-29. Its red eyes glowed like twin coals. Zar stared at it. "What is that?" The drone scanned him. Target locked. Commander Drakenvesh, confirmed war criminal. Charges: genocide, human colony raids, and civilian slaughter. Zarn blinked. "You? You're a drone from the old war." Eldon's voice was cold now, sharp like broken ice. "I didn't come here to hide. I came here to bury my past. But you brought it back." Zarn growled. "You think I fear a retired soldier?" Eldon smiled slightly. "No, I think you forgot why your kind lost." Then he pressed something on his wrist. A sudden, high-pitched sound hit Zarn's ears. He screamed and dropped to his knees. His implant's illegal combat enhancers were short-circuiting. System breach, GR-29 confirmed. Biolink sabotage. Complete. Zarn's arms twitched. His balance failed. His gang tried to run, but they couldn't move. Invisible drones, silent and fast, peered from rooftops. GR-29 had called them in. Old allies deactivated years ago. Reactivated by a ghost's call. Within 10 seconds, the entire gang was on the ground. Gasping and trembling, the market watched in silence. Eldon walked up to Zarn. The alien looked up, sweat dripping, body shaking. "Who are you?" Eldon crouched beside him. "You don't remember me, do you?" he whispered. "But I remember Theta Outpost. I remember the screaming, the fire, the scientists you butchered, and the girl. You crushed her lungs." Was 12. Zarn's eyes widened. "Your Ghost Division," he gasped. "You're supposed to be dead," Eldon said. "I was, till now." He stood and looked around the market. Then he spoke, not loud, but clear. "My name is Eldon Graves. I was a colonel in the human shadow forces. I fought monsters like this one, and I buried more than I can count." He pointed to Zarn's gang. "These are not just bullies. They're war criminals hiding among us. Their crimes don't fade with time." The crowd said nothing, but eyes shifted. Heads nodded. One vendor stepped forward and dropped a water bottle in front of Eldon. "On the house," he said quietly. Another stepped closer. "We knew something was wrong with that gang, but we were scared." Eldon didn't smile. He just nodded once and turned to help Riella, who stood nearby, eyes wide. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head. You're a soldier." Eldon looked down at her. "I was," he said. "But today I was just someone who had enough." The city of Zarkon was still awake under the stars, but the market was silent. Rumors spread fast. Some said the old water vendor had summoned war machines from the sky. Others said he melted a Zarn warrior's mind with a single look. But Eldon didn't care about the stories. He had a war to finish. Inside his shack, he stood before a locked steel vault hidden behind rusted shelves. He placed his palm on the scanner. A red line moved across his hand. Access granted. The vault hissed open. With a deep mechanical groan, behind it lay the truth he had buried for 10 long years. The room was small and dark, lit by a single blue light. Inside were weapons and tools older than the current government of Zarkon. Human tech, military tech, illegal tech. But more than that, memories. Eldon stepped in and stared at the walls. There was his old armor, black with red trim, scratched and battered from dozens of battles. The Ghost Division insignia was still clear on the chest plate, a skull wrapped in silent wings. He hadn't worn it since. Theta Outpost fell.gr29 hovered behind him. Suit status, functional with minor power cell decay. Recommend recharge. Eldon nodded. On a small shelf, he found a photo. His squad, Lyra, Kreese, Dane, all of them smiling in a captured moment of peace between missions. All of them now dead. "I should have died with you," he whispered. .gr-9 beeped softly. "Correction, you survived." They would not want that wasted. Eldon stared at the armor. He slowly removed his coat, his boots, his shirt. Scar after scar lined his body burns. Cuts, stab marks. He moved slowly, carefully. Age had dulled his reflexes, but not his will. Piece by piece, he put the armor back. On it didn't fit like it used to. It was heavier, but it still felt right when the final clasp sealed over his chest. Something changed in him. He wasn't a vendor anymore. He wasn't just a ghost. He was a weapon waking. Up.gr9 hovered in front of him and activated a projection. A map of Zarkon appeared in the air, glowing with red dots. Vesh has grown his network, the drone explained. Drug routes, weapons, trade, alien trafficking. He controls 3 underground sectors. Eldon's eyes narrowed. Aliens. And he's still hiding. Correct? He uses false names. But he moves between bunkers. I have tracked a pattern. The drone displayed blinking lines, movement paths, camera feeds. Corrupted files stitched together. Target's current location is likely Sector 9. Deep vault. Shielded. Eldon grabbed a black case from the shelf and opened it. Inside was a small metallic dart the size of a finger. It pulsed softly with red light. "The needle," he said. "Last of its kind," GR29 added. "Kills neural implants. Can shut down an enemy command center from inside the brain." Eldon closed the case. Time to deliver it. Before he left, he stepped into the corner of the vault. There, behind an old flag, was a memorial. Simple metal plates with names engraved. Every name of his squad. He bowed his head. "I don't want revenge," he said softly. "I want peace, but peace means stopping him for good." He stood straight again. GR29 pulsed red. Extraction plan ready. Nightfall entry through Sector 9 tunnel. Eldon turned toward the exit. Meanwhile, in the heart of Zarkon, Commander Drakon Vesh sat in a dark room. His body had changed over the years, replaced limbs. New implants. Newer armor, but the eyes were the same, cold. Cruel. He had just received news that Zarn, his younger brother, had been taken down by a human, not killed, but humiliated. Vesh slammed his fist into the table. "Graves," he muttered. "I buried you. I saw your ship explode." One of his advisors, a pale insectoid named Reek, spoke nervously. "If he lives, Commander, he may know where the human black files are stored. He could destroy everything." Vesh stood. "I'll finish what I started on Theta," he said. "Bring me his location. Dead or alive, I want his armor stripped. His bones broken and his eyes removed." Reek hesitated. "And the girl? The child seen with him?" Vesh smirked. "She screamed first." That same night, Eldon moved through the dark tunnels under the city. GR29 flew ahead, jamming sensors. And guiding the path, Eldon didn't speak. His footsteps were silent, his eyes forward. He reached a locked, hatch-thick steel with glowing red glyphs. Alien tech, reinforced. Impossible for most, but not for him. He pulled out a small square device, a breach cube, placed it on the door. 5 seconds, GR29 said. The door melted open. Cold air rushed in beyond it. Sector 9 waited, and inside? Commander Vesh Eldon stepped through the smoke. "Let's finish this," he whispered. Sector 9 wasn't a place. It was a graveyard hidden beneath a city. The tunnels smelled like oil, blood, and fire. Faint lights blinked above rusted pipes. And the walls were coated in grime from 100 illegal operations. This was where Commander Drakonvesh ruled under the surface. In silence, like a shadow too dangerous to walk the daylight. But tonight, a different shadow had returned, and it was walking straight into the lion's den. Eldon moved like a whisper. His black armor blended into the dark. GR29 floated silently behind him, its red scanning lights sweeping corners, floors, ceilings. The deeper they moved, the more signs of Vesh's growing empire appeared: crates of alien weapons, cages with faint scratch marks, bloodstains too fresh to ignore. "This place isn't just a bunker," Eldon said coldly. "It's a feeding." Ground GR29 beeped. Confirmed. Heat signatures, 33 hostile life forms. Commander Vesh is 3 levels below. Central control room. Eldon placed a flat disk on the wall. An old Earth tool. Magnetic and silent. EMP ready. "I'm done hiding," he said. Far below, in the control room, Vesh watched security feeds with cold eyes. His claws drummed against the metal table. "He's here," he said quietly. "Reek." His insectoid advisor blinked nervously. "How do you know?" "Because it's silent, and when Ghost Division moved." Silence always came first. The lights flickered. Vesh stood. "Seal the upper levels. Prepare the plasma guards. I want Graves' corpse hanging in this room before the next cycle." Eldon didn't care about the numbers. 3 guards turned a corner and spotted him. "Freeze." One shouted, raising his weapon. Eldon didn't freeze. In one fluid motion, he threw 2 shock knives. One hit a neck, the other a chest. A third. Guard rushed forward and met Eldon's elbows straight in the throat. 3 down, no sound, no delay. Targets neutralized. GR29 confirmed. Additional patrol approaching from the west corridor. Eldon activated his left wrist panel. From the roof, an old Earth Tech auto turret dropped silently and locked on the next squad. Before they even rounded the bend, they were riddled with stun rounds. No fatalities. GR29 noted. "They don't deserve a quick death," Eldon said. He moved on floor by floor. Eldon descended. The deeper he went, the more dangerous it became. Drones flew overhead. He ducked under one and used GR29 to jam its signal. It crashed without a sound. Tripwires. He saw them before stepping through the smoke. Laser mines. GR29 disabled them mid-glow. By the time Eldon reached the final door, 12 guards were unconscious behind him. He hadn't spoken. He hadn't hesitated. He was no longer the water vendor. He was the ghost. The final blast door hissed open. The control room was massive metal floors, giant monitors, a long table at the center, and guards surrounding the far side like statues. At the end stood Commander Drakonvesh. His armor was thick and polished. His limbs enhanced. One eye glowed bright red from a cyber implant. A long scar ran down his jaw, given to him by a human soldier years ago. A human named Eldon Graves. "You're late," Vesh growled. Eldon stepped forward. "You're still alive." "That's the real problem," Vesh laughed. "You think you'll walk out of here?" Eldon removed something from his belt. The small needle device, a prototype only his division used. "Depends," he said. "Want to? Talk first, or scream." Vesh roared, lifted a massive cannon from the wall, and fired. Eldon moved. The battle was chaos, but it was controlled chaos. Eldon didn't fight like a man his age. He fought like a ghost. He dodged blasts by inches, deflected one with his shield, threw a smoke bomb, and slid across the metal floor. He stabbed one guard in the leg, tripped another with a cable. GR-29 fired a stun pulse, dropping 3 more instantly. Vesh charged at him. They crashed against a console. Sparks flew. Vesh swung his armored fistodon, blocked it, but the force sent him flying. He hit the wall hard, but he stood again. "You're slower than before," Eldon said, wiping blood from his lip. "And you're older than dirt," Vesh growled. They rushed again. This time, Eldon ducked, rolled, and launched the needle. It hit Vesh's neck. Vesh froze, then screamed. The device began disabling his implants one by one. His strength dropped. His vision blurred. Sparks burst from his back. Eldon walked toward him. "You killed scientists. Children, you burned colonies. You called it war. I call it murder." Vesh dropped to his knees. "Please," he gasped. Eldon looked into his eyes. No mercy for ghosts. He pressed a button on his wrist. The implants? Overloaded. Vesh's scream echoed for just a second. Then silence. Later, Eldon emerged from the tunnels. The market was quiet. The stars above were calm. He wasn't carrying a weapon, only a message. On a nearby wall, someone had painted the Ghost Division mark again, but this time, no one dared touch it. RYL stood waiting. "You came back," she whispered. Eldon nodded. "I always do." The next morning, the markets of Zarkon opened like they always did. Vendors rolled out their carts, lights flickered on. Alien voices filled the air with laughter and bargaining. But something had changed. Everyone noticed the quiet corner near the southern wall, the place where the old human used to sell water. The cart was gone. Instead, a small glass bottle stood alone on a stone bench. Inside, it was clean, clear water. Taped to it was a note in simple writing. "Purity is not weakness." No one saw who placed it, but everyone knew what it meant. Some whispered that Eldon Graves had left the city. Some claimed he had returned underground to fight more hidden enemies. But Rila knew the truth. She was the only one who had followed the path of broken footprints leading outside the city walls. And there, near the edge of the cliffs, she found him, sitting quietly, watching the twin suns rise over the silver mountains. He looked peaceful. His black armor rested beside him. His body was wrapped in a soft gray robe. His eyes, once sharp with war, were now soft-tired. "But at ease, you left without saying goodbye," Rila said, stepping beside him. Eldon didn't look at her, but a faint smile touched his lips. "I said goodbye a long time ago. I just didn't realize it." She sat next to him, holding her school bag on her lap. "People are talking about you," she said. "They say you killed a monster." Eldon sighed. "No, I ended one. Isn't that the same thing?" "No," he said. "Killing is easy. Ending evil takes more." Rila looked at his face. "Why didn't you fight sooner?" He thought about that. "Because sometimes you try to bury the war inside you. You try to live like it never happened. But war has a way of remembering you, even if you forget yourself." She was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Are you leaving?" Eldon nodded slowly. "I've done what I needed to do here. There are others like Vesh out there. Maybe fewer now, but even one is too many. You're going to fight again." "No," he said. "I'm going to protect. There's a difference." She reached into her bag and handed him something. A small cloth square with a hand-drawn symbol, 2 wings, and a circle. The mark of the Ghost Division. But instead of the red slash, there was a blue star above it. "I made it for you," she said, "to show that even ghosts can carry light." He held it gently, like it was made of glass. "Thank you," he Whispered back in the city, things began to change. Vesh's gang vanished. Some were arrested. Others ran. The vendors no longer feared each other. Some even began helping the weaker stalls. Prices became fair. Even the guards who once ignored the bullies started patrolling more often and every day. Someone would clean the stone bench where the bottle once stood. No one dared take that spot. It belonged to the ghost who came back. Weeks later, a message appeared across the planetary broadcast network. No images. Just words to those who think age weakens the spirit. Remember, the man who carried war in silence and still chose peace. To those who prey on the helpless, know that ghosts are watching. Signed, E.G. The message traveled far. Beyond Zarkon, beyond the nearby systems. Some said the message was sent from an old Earth satellite that hadn't worked in years. No one could trace it. But many believed it because something was changing in the galaxy. In dark corners where criminals had once ruled, signs began to appear. A mark. 2 wings. A circle. And beneath it, a blue star somewhere in deep space on a quiet freighter flying under no flag. Eldon Graves poured water into 2 cups, one for him and one for the empty seat across from him. He lifted the cup. To the forgotten, he said. He drank in silence. GR9. Hovered nearby, scanning a star chart. New transmission detected, the drone said. Distress beacon, civilian vessel. Coordinates locked. Eldon stood slowly, wearing his robe, the new patch stitched to his shoulder. Then we better answer it, he said. Let's remind the stars what humanity still stands for. As the freighter changed course, the stars shifted above, and in the silence of space, the ghost moved again.